Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to a Beantown Friday edition of the Ice Guys, Friday, March 22nd, presented by Boston Hemp Inc. Ian Cameron, Terry Edelman, in his last sojourn this week, filling in for Alex B. Smith, who will be making his, I know, much anticipated, much awaited return to the show tomorrow for the massive Saturday slate. But we are here to break down the Friday NHL card. We've got 4 games on tap here for this Friday night. As usual, a little bit of a smaller slate on this Friday. But as we always do on Friday, we recap what was not a small slate from Thursday. And it was a Thursday that was a profitable Thursday for me. It was a good Thursday, solid. It wasn't the huge night I had on Tuesday or one of the days last week, but it was a very solidly profitable Thursday night overall. I know the one thing that Terry and I both enjoyed was the St. Louis Blues getting a 5-2 victory over the Ottawa Senators last night. I think we were both a little bit mystified. I know I said it on the show that we're going to give Ottawa a -130 home favorite price tag there. I was a little shocked by that. I thought pick 'em, maybe even money. And I even said maybe you could make St. Louis just a very small road favorite, but it wasn't the case. Ottawa was -130 in that game, and we both felt that was wrong team favored, and that's exactly how it played out. The Blues with a 5-2 win as they keep their playoff hopes alive. They've still got plenty of work to do, and they're going to need some help. But you need to keep winning your games, and all you can control is how you perform and how you get the job done. And St. Louis did last night, 5-2, and we cashed a Jake Neighbors prop. We talked about him. Won't you be my neighbor? Jake Neighbors with 2 goals last night for the Blues in that victory over Ottawa. So good to see that last night. With the New York Rangers, 5-2 victory over the Boston Bruins. Terry had a piece of this Rangers team last night at the plus money price, even with John Quick in net. And Jonathan Quick was pretty solid, and the Rangers were opportunistic. One of the goals went in off DeBrusque, but hey, they all count. And that ended up being a huge, huge goal right at the end of the second period because Boston was just starting to get a little momentum back. And, you know, for that goal to go in to make it 2-1, give the Rangers the lead back again, and they kind of, you know, got that momentum going again through the third. They end up pulling away the 5-2 victory. What a night. There were a couple of players that had just an incredible night, and one of them was Artemi Panarin. He gets the hat trick for the New York Rangers in that victory last night. Just continues to play at a very high level for New York right there. And for me, the best bet cashes from this game. I thought 5.5 was a little bit light for the total, given what we have seen from both of these teams lately. So very nice to see the over 5.5. My best bet from that game end up cashing in and coming through. So that was very good to see. So a nice result overall there for the Rangers. And certainly for us, Terry liked the Rangers, and I was involved with the over there in that game. Carolina with a 3-2 win against overtime. This one, well, had a piece of the full game over and a piece of the Hurricanes team total over. Both of them fell just a little bit short. Flyers, really heck of an effort from them on the road against a good Hurricanes team. They get a very important point. So even though they don't win the game and they lose in overtime, to get a point, every point means a lot for them right now. And who else but the red hot, and I mean red hot, Seth Jarvis to get the overtime winner. And again, the goal props, we've talked about how much of a good bet it has been lately to look at Seth Jarvis to score a goal. And he does it once again in overtime fashion in the game winner for the Hurricanes last night. And a great interview after the game. He is a character. He's got a little of that comedy, flair to him. And he's certainly playing well right now as far as producing offensively for Carolina. The woes continue for the New York Islanders and Patrick Waugh. A huge game for them as they try to claw their way back into the wild card race against a team they need to catch. But it was all Detroit, 6-3 for the Red Wings over the Islanders last night. We do split with the bifecta. We lose the first period over, but we come all the way back and easily cash the full game over as the goals exploded in the last 2 periods. 4 goals in the second period, 5 in the third, and it ended up being a offensive explosion after that scoreless first period. Much of the damage being done by Detroit. look at the difference Dylan Larkin makes. I mean, first game back, we talked about how this team had struggled mightily without him in the lineup. And sure enough, what do we see? The first game back, the offense explodes. He gets a couple of goals for the Red Wings last night in his return. And he's that much of a difference maker, really. Both ends of the ice, how much he impacts the hockey game and this leadership in the dressing room. And with Captain Dylan Larkin back, they get a big 6-3 victory. And like I said, the woes continue here for the New York Islanders. It's been a rough stretch, and the losing streak now at 6 following that loss last night. New Jersey, 4-1, a nice win for them, a big win for them against the Winnipeg Jets, a Jets team that had a very solid victory against the New York Rangers earlier in the week. This was not a good game for Winnipeg. They were badly outshot, badly outchanced, 41-19. They were in the penalty box most of the night, and it was just not Winnipeg's vintage A game. I thought Brossoit played a heck of a game, did everything he could to give his team a chance. 3 goals allowed, but he faced 40 saves, or 37 saves, 40 shots in that game for the New Jersey Devils. So he did all he could, but it was the power play doing a lot of damage. Actually, every goal for New Jersey, except the empty netter, came on the power play last night. 2 power play goals for Jack Hughes and 1 by the captain, Nico Hischier. So big win there for the Devils, 4-1 against the Winnipeg Jets. How about the Nashville Predators? What a job by this team. They set the franchise record consecutive game point streak in a single season, 16 games with a point, 14-0-2 during this stretch. And this might have been the most impressive win of all, going to Florida against the mighty Panthers, albeit the Panthers struggling a little bit here the last few games. But to shut him out 3-0, Kevin Lankinen posting the shutout. Forsberg remains red hot. He gets 2 points, including a goal last night. What a job by Andrew Burnett and this Nashville Predators team to come to think of where they were when Dallas absolutely obliterated them at home like a month ago. And since then, they've ripped off this 14-0-2 streak. It's been extremely impressive to watch what we have seen here from the Nashville Predators. And at both ends of the ice, they're getting it done. They've been probably a top, I would say, borderline top 5 offensive team in the NHL during this 16-game run. Defensively, it's been good enough. The goaltending's been solid. They are just on an incredible run, and so good that we expect them now to make the playoffs, that they could be very dangerous to any first-round opponent if they get in. Edmonton, I'll tell you what, for Buffalo, we took a shot. We thought the spot was a good one for them. And look, they hung for 2 periods. It was a 2-2 game going into the third, or 3-2, actually. Buffalo had the lead, I should say, 3-2 going into the third period. Or no, it was 3-3, I beg your pardon. 3-3 going into the third. But then it was a 5-goal outburst by Edmonton in the third period to turn it into a romp, 8-3. We do cash the Sabres team total, which is why I always say with those big dogs especially, split your bet. Split your bet between team total and money line, because oftentimes you'll see the big dog hang. You'll see the big dog get the team total, go over that number, but they'll lose the game. And that's exactly what we saw last night, 8-3 win for the Oilers. Anaheim shuts out Chicago 4-0. We kind of figured it had to be this spot for Anaheim to snap the losing streak against Arvid Soderblom, and they were able to do it and get a very nice win there against Chicago, 4-0 in complete control. And Lukas Dostal as well ends up getting the shutout for the Anaheim Ducks. A terrific job by him in net. Vancouver with a very solid, businesslike, workmanlike 4-1 victory over the Montreal Canadiens last night. A solid win there for Vancouver as they get the job done. I'll tell you what, Vegas let Seattle hang around more than I was comfortable with because I thought they had a chance when they were up 1-0 in the first to bury the Kraken, but they let them hang around. They couldn't get that second goal. Seattle ends up tying it 1-1 in the third, but just a horrible breakdown to allow Keegan Colasar to get to the net with about 1:20 left, and he puts it past the goaltender Philip Grubauer for the 2-1 go-ahead game-winning goal, and then they add the empty netter with 12 seconds left. And it ends a 3-1 Vegas victory. So we do cash the first period puck line in Vegas in regulation. The team total, though, falls short in that one. And then the last game of the night, it was Tampa Bay 4, San Jose 1. We had the bifecta. We got the over, the first period portion of that bifecta. We lose the full game over. But from a prop standpoint, that's where this game was very good for yours truly. We had Kucherov over 1.5 points. Braden Point over 1.5 points. We cash another Anthony Duclair Bargain bin, not a bargain. Actually, the bargain bin special was Connor Garland, I should say, for Vancouver, plus 300, and that ends up cashing. But we had Anthony Duclair goal prop. And yes, I did bet it, what we mentioned on the show yesterday, and I know a lot of our viewers did, that same game parlay that we mentioned, Tampa Bay, San Jose, Duclair goal, point over 1.5 points, Kucherov over 1.5 points, plus 900 at some places, and it ends up hitting pretty comfortably. Because actually, I think you could have even spiced it up even further and gone 3+ points with Kucherov and point, or 2+ points too with Duclair. Duclair at a 2-point night, including the goal. So all three of those guys are on an absolute heater right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning collectively. So it's been a very, very impressive performance by them during this. Certainly offensively, it has been, and they've done enough with their defensive side of it to keep the other team off the score sheet, as now the win streak for Tampa Bay extends to 5 in a row. Terry, your thoughts from a very loaded and busy Thursday night?
Yeah, well, yesterday was kind of an up and down for me. Rangers was a great win. Just a team that I really like that bounces back. So when they have a bad game, like they did against Winnipeg, they're a team that bounces back. So I definitely liked taking the Rangers. Um, Seth Jarvis wins in an overtime for the Hurricanes. That was awesome. Cashing a plus 220 anytime goal prop with Jarvis. I did have the Hurricanes puck line. As I said, I should not bet Flyers games, so I know that. Red Wings, Islanders. Unfortunately, Raymond just didn't chip in. The Islanders did play more disciplined in this game. They only took 2 penalties, so they didn't give the Red Wings a bunch of chances in that one. The Jets against the Devils. My best bet yesterday. Unfortunately, this Jets team just you can't continue to take penalties after penalties after penalties and expect your goalie to have a shutout night. Winnipeg scoring 1 goal, it would have taken a shutout to win that game. So just not a good game by the Jets whatsoever. The Blues, an underdog win. Me and Ian both loved the Blues yesterday. Jake Neighbors item plus 120 to get a point, because that's such a great price for someone on the top line to get a point. Ian had the goal prop, so a nice plus cash there. And then this Predators team. I said it yesterday. I love the Panthers. I do. But this Predators team is consistent. And when you're a streaks better like I am, that bets a lot of streaks. When a team is consistent like this, it's just a perfect team to bet on. That game was just not priced correctly. No UC Saros, no problem with Lankin in there. And I think Ian was definitely right. The Predators know what happened with Brunette and with the Panthers. And I really think that they put on an extra good effort here for their backup Lankinen, but also for their head coach. So that was a great game there. The Blackhawks, I was going to bet them until I found out it was Soderblom, and then I was off. So I'm
Good
glad
decision.
that Soderblom was confirmed, because what am I doing even thinking about betting the Blackhawks? I won't do that the rest of the year. Connor Bedard can't even get a point against the Ducks here, so I didn't hear a lot about him on Twitter this morning. The Canucks with the 4-1 win over the Canadiens. My only play in that game was Slafkovsky to get a point, plus 100. He scores the only goal for the Canadiens. So that was a nice winner there. Stayed off that Vegas game. Just didn't have a good feeling for it. And then the Lightning, Duclair. As someone in the chat said yesterday, who isn't on Duclair props tonight? And I'm hope that there wasn't anyone that wasn't on Duclair props last night, because he continues to do his thing against his former team as well. So that was just a nice way to finish off the night there.
Yeah, it was. And Duclair and has been a go-to, believe it or not, a mainstay as far as being on my NHL player prop card repeatedly here for the last several games in a row. And that did not change last night against the Tampa Bay, against the San Jose Sharks, his old team actually as well, that traded him to Tampa Bay, of course, at the deadline. So it's good to see that cash in. We've got 4 games now tonight on this Friday. We will begin with the Washington Capitals hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. This will be a back-to-back, by the way, for the Hurricanes, rather, after the win against Philadelphia last night in overtime. Carolina minus 200 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game tonight. You look at Washington, cashed a ticket with them multiple ways. Cashed a ticket against them, I should say, Wednesday night with Toronto. First period money line. We had a little full game with Toronto. First period puck line. Just a brutal spot. You're coming off the 5-game road trip out west, Malinsky special, with just 48 hours after the return from Calgary. And the Leafs jumped on them early, got the first goal 16 seconds in. And then basically it ended up 7-3 after that in favor of the Leafs. They pulled away in the third period of that game. So it was a really bad spot. Washington will be looking to bounce back here. They're still, overall, their last 8 games, 5-3, playing some good hockey. This is I got to admit, it's kind of an interesting price here to be given, a big price to be given a Washington team that's playing for their playoff lives and coming off a bad game. Situationals point to Washington here, but, I don't know. I don't know if I can go against Carolina. They're finding ways to win. They've won 5 in a row. I don't like going against the teams that are on that kind of a streak right now. And they're certainly doing a nice job right now with the 5 straight victories entering this game against Washington, 3-2 in overtime last night. This is going to be their 3rd game in 4 nights as well. That is something to factor in. If you look at series history, Carolina's dominated, though. 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. The only victory for Washington was down in Raleigh, a 2-1 shootout win in December. Back here in Washington in January, it was a 6-2 convincing victory for the Hurricanes in that one. You look at the goaltending matchup here tonight as well. You see it's going to be Pyotr Kochetkov here for Carolina, second night of back-to-back games, or at least it should be. Darcy Kemper confirmed in net for Washington, and to be quite honest with you, I'm not enamored with backing Washington with Kemper in net. There's a reason why Lindgren's got the majority of the starts. I don't think Lindgren had his best game against Toronto the other night, but you could say he's still been the better goalie. And hell, nobody had a good game that night other than maybe Ovi against Toronto coming off that road trip. So I think when you look at this game, Kemper, 3.29 goals against, 890 save percentage, gave up 7 goals the last time we saw him against the Edmonton Oilers, and he's pretty consistently given up 3+ goals here in each of his last 4. Wow, you have to go back. I think it's now 5 straight starts for Darcy Kemper where he's allowed a minimum 3 goals to the opponent. So it's interesting to see how he fares here against a Carolina team that, as we've all talked about, since getting Gensel and getting the former Capital Kuznetsov, and we'll get to that in a moment when it comes to player props. Definitely, I think Carolina team total. It didn't hit last night, but Philadelphia playing with that real sense of urgency, capable enough defensive outfit. I don't think Washington, first of all, I don't think they're as good defensively as they've shown you at times. And especially when you take Lindgren out of there and you put a Kemper in instead, I think there's the capability for this team to give up goals. So really the only thing I have really like in this game is over 3.5. I think if you can find a 5.5, I'd take a shot with the full game over as well in this game at 5.5. 6, I'm kind of on the fence, but yeah, for me, I'd look Canes team total over 3.5. You get a nice little plus price with that as well, because Pinnacle, among other books, you can actually get plus money with Carolina's team total over here tonight in this game, plus 106 at Pinnacle. And I think if you can find 5.5, actually, I will add the over at 5.5. Pinnacle's got it at minus 122. It's a pretty good price there to lay just a price like that at that total at over 5.5 here. It is a lot of games in a condensed period of time here for Carolina. That does concern me a little bit, but like I said, I don't like the way this Washington defense sets up, and even less so with Kemper in net. What do you think here in this one, Terry? Carolina, Washington.
Yeah, I'm not overly happy to see that they played so many games as well. Like it is a lot of games that they played. But when I look at this matchup here, this Washington Capitals team, they've kept themselves in the race. But they now have the schedule of death here. They have so many tough teams they have to face. I think that the Capitals are going to run out of steam here They are one of the oldest teams in the NHL. Facing this Carolina team, yeah, they're on the second night of a back-to-back, but Chekhov has been great. Carolina has the goalie advantage in this game. Carolina has the defensive advantage, the offensive advantage in this game. They've absolutely dominated the Capitals in recent years. So didn't cash yesterday, but I'm going back to the Canes puck line here at plus 130 in this game. Jarvis goal plus 220 yesterday. Well, it's plus 250 today. So I don't know how
Well,
plus
now you
250
just
a bet.
bet it every game because he's been that good. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, Bet365 has it for plus 250. Some other books have plus 170, so shop around. But Bet365 plus 250 for Jarvis anytime goal. He's got one in 6 of his last 7 games on the top line, facing Darcy Kemper. What else can I say there? Ovechkin goal plus 170. He does have a goal in 3 straight games. And as we saw in the Capitals last game, Dylan Strome, when he should have shot the puck, he didn't. He passed to Ovechkin. Everyone wants to see Ovechkin get that break history. So players will continue to pass to Ovechkin when they probably should shoot. So plus 170 for Ovechkin to keep his goal scoring streak going. And then I am on Kuznetsov over half a point plus 100. I'll let Ian tell everyone why, because I'm sure it's the same reason that I am on him. So,
Oh yeah, return to Washington. It didn't end well for him there with the Capitals. He clearly is playing with more gusto and more energy and more life since he's arrived in Carolina. You're probably good. Look, Kuznetsov does take nights off. Like, I honestly don't think he was very good last night, quite honestly. I think that was the first time since he's been with the Hurricanes where you can say, yeah, he didn't show up. You really couldn't find him with a telescope, honestly, last night. No points, no shots on goal. So when I look at that, I think he'll be better tonight. Maybe he was saving it for tonight to unload a can on his old team here, the Washington Capitals. But yeah, anything Kuznetsov, with its goal prop, assist prop, points prop, hell, maybe take a shot over 1.5 points. You'll get really good value with that here tonight, because he could easily get a goal and an assist tonight in this game against the Capitals in this one, because he does have one multi-point game since he's joined the Carolina Hurricanes. Let me see what the price is on that. Yeah, you can get Kuznetsov with the I'm trying to see here. Kuznetsov plus 475 for over 1.5 points. It's a hell of a price. That's bargain bin candidate right there, if you ask me, right there. So yeah, no doubt that's definitely something to look at. And then I think too, that's a good point. Someone in the chat mentioning about Matthew Phillips here for the Capitals, and he's only on the 4th line from what I see. There's people saying he might be moved up to the 2nd line. I know he's been called up from Hershey. Let's see where he's at. I mean, certainly you're getting a huge price there, but I want to see exactly where he's at. Looks like Michael Scarbosa might be on the top line with Connor McMichael and Alex Ovechkin, because remember, TJ Oshie's out. That's going to hurt Washington, and we saw it without him against Toronto. Their records over the years without Oshie goes down. Remember, he didn't play against Toronto the other night. Sure enough, they lose. And over the years, when TJ Oshie hasn't played, the record has definitely not been as good for Washington. Not just that, but Tom Wilson is facing a suspension right now for the Washington Capitals as well, or at least he's going to have an in-person hearing for the high stick on Noah Gregor of the Toronto Maple Leafs the other night. It was definitely not intentional, but man, you got to have a better control of your stick than that. That's totally absurd here. He's just wham. It's just like he just lost the grip of it, and the stick just slams right into Gregor's face. It was brutal to look at it in slow motion the other night. So you just got to have better control of your stick than that. There's no reason for you to just have, lose the, control of your hockey stick to that extent. So he's probably going to pay the piper for it too, because he's been a repeat offender in the past. They're not going to have as much sympathy for him. So I don't expect Tom Wilson tonight. TJ Oshie's still out tonight. So it could be tough sledding once again for the Capitals. And it looks like, daily faceoff. I'm seeing that now. That Miroshnichenko, Strome, and Phillips are listed on the 2nd line. So if that's the case, Phillips is worth a look, because you're getting this crazy big time plus price on him if he's going to play on the 2nd line for this Capitals team tonight, and you're going to get in the vicinity of 700 to 750 for him to score a goal tonight. It's definitely worth a bet, no question. All right, next up, we've got Pittsburgh and Dallas. Dallas Stars minus 195, home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Yeah, Aho assist. He's got 1 in 4 straight, says Brett Skalski, our Monday Ice Guys show contributor. I agree. It's good value. And if you're riding the streak, ride the streak. I'm a streak rider. Terry's a streak rider. It's a big part of the handicap for me is when I see the streaks start to unfold, you don't fade them, you jump on them. No doubt about that. So Dallas minus 195, home favorite, 6.5 the total. I'm definitely on the over by Fecta here. No question. Pittsburgh, to me, I've talked about it. We're targeting this team as a big-time over team right now because the only thing they can do at a decent level right now is score because actually their offense hasn't been that bad. If you look at the last 4 games, we've seen the Penguins score 18 goals in the last 4 games combined. And they had scored 6, 6, and 4 prior to the loss to New Jersey. 4 straight overs in the last 4 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. So definitely that's and I've been riding a bunch of these overs with Pittsburgh lately. Jeff Carter is out. Ryan Graves is out, by the way, and I think that's due to potentially wife giving birth, I believe, is the reason for that. It looks like we're going to have an NHL debut, too, because taking his spot is Jack St. Ivany here for the Pittsburgh Penguins in this matchup. So we'll see how he fares. He's apparently been pretty good down there at Wilkes-Barre Scranton with the AHL team. We'll see if he can be that good here as well at the NHL level, making his NHL debut here for the Penguins tonight on the blue line in the place of Ryan Graves. For the Penguins, look, they're running out of racetrack. To me, they're not making the playoffs. They're too far behind, but, they've got to start stacking, and I mean stacking wins together. Like they've got to go on one of these 9-1, 10-1 runs in their last 9, 10, and 11 games if they're going to do anything here, and I just don't trust them to do it. Credit to Dallas. They played an inferior team at home, and yes, they did give up the first goal of the game to Arizona, but they woke up in the second period. They bounced back strong. They carried the game in the last 40 minutes, and they ended up winning 5-2 against Arizona. Crazy as it is to say, even though I don't like Pittsburgh at all tonight in this game, it's not the craziest thing in the world maybe to sprinkle a little bit at a huge plus price on Pittsburgh to score the first goal, because that has really been just an issue at times for Dallas at home against these weaker teams, just starting slow and giving up the first goal of the game. But that would be all I'd want with Pittsburgh is maybe they can get out to that 1-0 lead, but I certainly don't trust their defense. I don't trust their goaltending. I don't think either of Tristan Jarry or Alex Nedeljkovic has been in very good form lately for them. We've seen Pittsburgh give up 5 to New Jersey, 3 to Detroit, 7 to the Rangers, 3 to a bad San Jose team, 4 to Edmonton, 5 to Boston, 6 to Washington, 6 to Edmonton, 3. I mean, they've given up basically in the last 10 games, they've given up a minimum of 3 goals in 9 of those last 10 games. So for me, this is a clear over by Fecta. For me, 1.5, 6.5. We'll go with both of those. I know series history-wise, we've seen a lot of unders. That does scare me. 8-1-1 to the under in the last 10 meetings, but I'm kind of putting an asterisk beside that series history right now because to me, the Penguins still can score a little bit, but they cannot keep the puck out. And I think with Dallas here, the one thing that's consistent about them is while they will beat an inferior foe like Pittsburgh, they're usually going to give up at least a couple goals to these weaker teams like they did with Arizona. Like perfectly reasonable final score tonight to me would be 5-2. I could clearly see that. So over by Fecta for me, over 1.5 first period, over 6.5 full game. And by the way, I talked about how Dallas won their last game against an inferior opponent at home, 5-2. Guess what Pittsburgh's last loss was? 5-2 on the road the other night against the New Jersey Devils. Sprinkle on Dallas correct score, 5-2 tonight. I think that's not a bad option. Look, I mentioned how 4-1 Vegas. We got close with that. It ended 3-1. Not that far off last night with that correct score recommendation we gave you. So maybe a little sprinkle on that. A little Dallas 5-2 final score tonight. What do you think here, Terry? Penguin Stars.
Yeah, well, like you said, the very heavy under history. The last 6 have all gone under 5.5, and the last 10 meetings have all gone under 6.5. But those are different teams. These teams face each other twice a year. So you do have to realize that these are different teams. Both teams heavily trending towards the over right now. So I do like your overlook. As Addison says in the chat, second period over. But I don't think that really needs to be said. It's just a thing you just keep doing. So if I can get plus minus 120 to plus 100 after a few minutes in the second period, 3-4 minutes, I'll be jumping on that live over 1.5. Pre-game bets for me here. I like the Stars puck line. I like the Stars puck line here. And I hope, Ian, that you are right and Pittsburgh does score first, because then I will live bet Stars money line as well at a decent price if the Penguins do score first. Dallas, I've comes into this game winning 7 of their last 9 games. Their last 4 wins, all by 3 or more goals. So they've won all of their last 4 by margin. Pittsburgh has lost 6 of their last 8 games. 6 of those 7 losses were by 3 or more goals. So Pittsburgh is not losing games 2-1. They're losing games 4-0, 4-1, 5-2, like Ian said. They're losing games by 3 goals. So no, I'm not going to take the super puck line with Dallas. I'll just take the minus 1.5 here, plus 130. And Jamie Benn, he goes on an assist streak. I take him for an assist back-to-back games, and he scores a goal. So this time, I'm taking Ben to get a point. Minus 115, but I'm okay with that. He has a point in 8 of his last 9 games. Jamie Benn has a point. I'll also take Wyatt Johnston for a point. Minus 125, but he's got one in 4 of his last 5 games. I like him to bounce back here. You could take him for a goal. He's got a goal in 4 of his last 5. Someone mentioned in the chat Sidney Crosby assist. He's done that in 4 games in a row. Brian Rust has a goal in 3 of his last 4. If you were looking at Penguins props, and then Robertson point. Yes, it's a parlay piece, but 9 of his last 10 games, he's got a point. So some good player props in this game, and I think Dallas takes care of business here in this one.
Yeah, I think I will sprinkle, though. While at Dallas, I agree. I think they're going to probably win the game. I'm going to sprinkle on that. It's plus 115, Pittsburgh first goal. I mean, it's happened so much. It's happened so much. And the one thing about Pittsburgh is they're desperate. If they still are going to try to con themselves, I think, into thinking that they've got a chance. But, they're still going to not go down without a fight. And Dallas has just had way too much issues all season. And even the other night against Arizona, giving up that first goal. So I think Pittsburgh, that first goal at plus 115. I think I'll put a couple bucks on that. As far as the props I mentioned, Crosby. Anything Crosby is always live with Pittsburgh because he's carried this team this year. Where the hell would they be without Sidney Crosby? I shudder. They're already not a very good team, but without Crosby on it, oh my gosh, it'd be an absolute disaster, this Penguins team this year. Rust and O'Connor are with him on the top line, so there's probably some value with those two. Bunting has been pretty good lately. Keep an eye on him as well. And then for the Dallas Stars, you're right, Wyatt Johnston, quiet night the other night. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. What I like is Peter DeBoer is basically going back to the Stankoven, Wyatt Johnston, Jamie Benn trio. Stankoven's finally back there on that line as he should be. That line's been, whenever they've been together, they've been one of the better lines here for the Dallas Stars. So no question, I'm looking at that third line. They're all good prop looks, in my opinion, here tonight, potentially for the Dallas Stars in this game. So keep an eye on that. And like I said, keep an eye, too, on this guy from a point standpoint. Little sneaky, under-the-radar defenseman. Nils Lundqvist. He's very good with the puck. Can make plays. He's a good skater. He had 2 assists in the win against Arizona the other night. Unfortunately, because he's a depth defenseman, I don't know how many props you're going to have available for him, especially when it comes to assists and points. Most players are the goal prop you're able to bet, but a lot of times those depth defensemen, you will not see an opportunity to bet assists or points. But yeah, I don't see that with Lundqvist. That's disappointing, but certainly a goal prop or an assist prop or a point prop with him certainly could be something to consider moving forward. All right, Columbus and Colorado. We've got the Avs minus 420, huge home favorites here at Ball Arena, 6.5 the total in this game. What's interesting when you look at the matchup here with the Blue Jackets and the Avs is that the Blue Jackets have actually gone 2-2 in the last 4 meetings in Denver with these two teams. So they've actually sprung a couple upsets. I don't know if tonight's going to be the night. They are just 1-5 in their last 6 games, and the only victory was against San Jose. And we've talked about how at home this team has put up some good battles, some decent results, but other than a win at Chicago, on the road we saw them lose at Pittsburgh 5-3, shut out by Montreal 3-0, and a pretty good effort against Detroit the other night, but they blow the lead in the final seconds and they lose in overtime 4-3 to the Red Wings the other night. So it's just, I don't know if I trust this edition of the Blue Jackets enough, and it's a Colorado team that's rolling. It's a Colorado team that does have a Sunday afternoon nationally televised home game on TNT against Pittsburgh, but I don't know if that's any kind of look ahead with the way Pittsburgh's kind of been struggling for this all season. So I look at this here, and I'm just trying to look and see what Colorado's done, in terms of they are coming. It is Malinsky special. I do want to caution you on that. That it is a return home off a 4-game road trip here for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. So that in particular is something to keep in mind. As far as the goaltending for tonight's matchup here with the Blue Jackets and the Avs, Merzlikins confirmed for Columbus. Alexander Georgiev is in net here for the Avalanche in this one. And the injuries are really mounting here for Columbus as well. We already know they've got guys like Kent Johnson, Fantilli, Adam Fantilli, Patrick Laine on the long-term injured list. They've got Justin Danforth. He's missed some games. Igor Shinikov has missed some games of late, 4 in a row. He's doubtful or questionable at best to return tonight. And now you've got Zach Werenski, one of your pillars on the blue line, questionable with a lower body injury that he sustained against Detroit the other night. So hurt blocking a shot against the Red Wings. And he's been really good of late. 1 goal, 8 assists in the last 10 games for Zach Werenski from the blue line here for the Blue Jackets. So that could be a big absence as far as what are we going to get from them at the offensive end of the ice without him, because he's been a big component of spurring whatever offense they've been able to get. So this one is just, I don't feel there's great value on Colorado. There's definitely some situationals that point to Columbus. They've actually won a couple of games here the last, 3 or 4 years in Denver, but just don't know that right now if I can do it. They're too banged up. They're just way too injury plagued. We see Merzlikins in net, who, to be quite honest with you, he's been up and down, and he's in another bit of a downslope again right now. 3 goals allowed on 4 shots, gets pulled against Montreal. He actually didn't play that bad against Ottawa, where they lost that game 3-2, but he played all right. But then the wheels came off against Winnipeg in his last start. 6 goals allowed in that 6-1 loss to the Jets. So unfortunately, you've got the team total here with Colorado, which is 4.5. You don't get that 3.5 like you normally would. So value's not great. The one thing I might recommend here is maybe a jump, even that, because they're coming off the road trip. I don't like first period bets with the team coming off a road trip either. So I'm kind of stuck in this game and probably looking more toward player props than anything else. I guess if you could talk me into one thing, you could talk me in maybe to the 6.5 over, simply because you've got Columbus that's, I don't think, going to shut down Colorado. But at the same time, you got Colorado off a road trip, a little bit of a sleepy spot, a little lax defensively. Columbus sneaked 2 goals in, and this could be one of those, 4-3, 5-2 type of games. It goes over the total. Absolutely. So I might get there with a small over 6.5, but like I said, it's tough to find value with Colorado. The team total I took a look at, but it's 4.5. I don't like it at 4.5. Over 1.5 is good value, but I don't like first period bets, team coming off the road trip. How many times have teams been awful coming off a road trip, especially in that first 20 minutes? So that's why I'm staying off anything to do with Colorado. I might just look at over 6.5, and I will look at some props, but first we'll get Terry's thoughts here. Terry, what do you think? Columbus, Colorado.
Yeah, my only play, single play, is that over 6.5 in this one. Colorado, I said it earlier, even if they show up 20 minutes, they could win this game. Like they could really just not show up for the first 40 minutes and still end up winning this game. Columbus, I think they can score some goals here. We know that Colorado does give up goals. I don't trust Elvis Merzlikins at all here. I think Colorado lights them up in the third period. So uh, maybe if Columbus does have a good start, we might be able to get somewhat of a decent price eventually for Colorado. Um, but I like the over 6.5. I think we do get goals on both sides, more so from Colorado. And then I do have a same game parlay that I did. Nathan McKinnon over 1.5 points, parlayed with Mikko Rantanen over half a point, Kale McCarr over half a point, and Valerie Nichushkin over half a point, plus 225 at Bet365. So the three players to get a point, and then McKinnon over 1.5 points, plus 225. That's how I'm handling props here, because a lot of the good props for the Top Guns are just really expensive, being that they're facing Columbus here. So I'm going with the same game parlay in this one.
All right, there we go. The same game parlay. And like I say, there's some good options. I mean, it's difficult right now with what we're seeing from the big guns of Colorado. Like, I always make a case for the value, right? The bargain bins and the guys down the lineup. And for Colorado, yeah, you maybe think about, someone like Middlestat and Drouin and Ross Colton and the old man, Zach Parise, and maybe you get interested in some of those players just for value. But it's hard right now not to just go with the Arturi Lehkonen is one that you could consider. He's been red hot right now, but it's especially hard to just not go with anyone from that top line, whether it's Big Val Nichushkin, who's been on fire since he's been back, whether it's Nate McKinnon, who's on this incredible point streak that he's on right now. I think I saw something that he's on some 30-some game point streak at home. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous what he's been doing at home. But, you could just go over 1.5 points with all these guys. The one that I really like as far as over 1.5 points is concerned is Mikko Rantanen. I mean, Rantanen is just, this is scalding hot the last 4 games. Somehow he didn't get a point against Edmonton. But throw that game out in the other 3 games of the last 4. Hat trick against St. Louis, 3 points. 2 points against Vancouver, and 4 points against Calgary. So he's been a multi-point scoring machine lately in a lot of these games recently. Mikko Rantanen, put my Finnish accent on it there for the Colorado Avalanche. So, like I say, this is one of those nights where, look, I did it with the Tampa guys last night, right? Kucherov and Point, both over 1.5 points, and I threw in a little Duclair goal to spice it up a little bit. I don't know if I've got that goal prop option to spice this one up, but maybe you could do McKinnon over 1.5 points, Rantanen over 1.5 points. How about Big Val goal? If you want to put a goal prop in that SGP, Big Val goal to go with Rantanen over 1.5 points and McKinnon over 1.5 points. Do I dare make that official and bet it? Why not? We hit one of these damn things last night. Why don't we try it again here tonight with this game? I'll put the damn thing together right now while we're talking about it here. So Big Val goal. And then we've got the point props here for McKinnon, because he's just dynamite at home, over 1.5 points, and Rantanen over 1.5 points. Not as good of a price as last night with plus 900 it was last night. This one's only plus 475 at Bet365, but that's still pretty good. That's still pretty good when you factor in you've got Rantanen over 1.5 points, Mr. Automatic to get at least 1 point at home, Nathan McKinnon over 1.5 points, and Big Val to score a goal. There you go, plus 470. I still think that's a solid same game parlay, quite honestly.
Well, poor Kale McCarr is going to be like, wow, Ian, like what about me? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I have Kale McCarr in my
open
parlay.
up all of a sudden, score 2 goals and get 3 or 4 points. That's the scary part. It's someone on their blue line can do that and has done that before many times. So yeah, Alex Nylander, Voronkov, Cuban Wayne Gretzky's right. If I were to look at anyone on Columbus, I would look probably Alex Nylander playing with Jenner and Gaudreau. And I would probably look at Voronkov too, if for the Jackets, and maybe even Marchenko with the Sillinger-Tessier group on the second line, if I'm going to look at any props involving the Blue Jackets here tonight. All right, the final game of this Friday slate, the Seattle Kraken. It's back-to-back on the road for them. They were in Vegas last night, losing 3-1. They're now in the desert, the other desert, I should say, tonight against the Arizona Coyotes. Even money here, both sides in this game, and the total currently sitting at 5.5, pretty much across the board here in this one. Oh, I just see someone has popped in and has shown his face here with us. We've missed him. It's been a couple of weeks here. Mr. Sick Podcast, Mr. The Eye Test here. Jimmy Murphy. You can check him out, of course, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time with Pierre Maguire. The Eye Test. I actually saw the episode on, I think it was Wednesday. They were talking about Couturier, and they were talking about San Jose's rebuild just being a complete disaster right now, and it's hard to argue with that. Jimmy, how are things going right now?
Things are good. You guys?
Good. Well, we got to ask you too. How the hell was Montreal, man? You spent it felt like you were never going to leave there. I thought maybe just a couple of days to do the show there with the Bruins and the Habs playing there. You turned it into a whole fucking weekend there, man.
Yes, I did. Well, it coincided with St. Patrick's weekend, so I figured why not stick around, see my old friends there, and be there for the parade and all the festivities. And it was a ton of fun. It was great. Saw so many old faces, and the show at Hurley's was a blast, and everything went well. It was good. The only problem is now my body is hating me. So I am in full recovery mode still from Montreal. My liver, I think, was left there. So,
yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I complain about weekends like that at my age, and I know you're a little older than us here too. And I mean, I could only imagine, Jimmy, like when you turn back the clock and you have those bender type of weekends and lots of later nights and partying and hanging with people and drinking, and man, it adds up. It can add up quickly.
It catches up to you. But luckily up there, it doesn't cost me much, because I'll tell you, I had so many free drinks tossed my way from all the crew up there. The problem is, they like to toss the Jameson shots around, and I'm at the age now, guys. I just got to pace it. I can have maybe one or two of those in a night, but not like the old days when just like, sure, I'll take 10 of those, no problem. Yeah, it just it doesn't work well the next morning. So, but it was great. It was good being up in that, hockey environment as well. Just back in Montreal, even though they're out of the playoffs, it's still a great place to watch a game. The Bell Center was rocking. And I'll tell you, man, the Bruins fans traveled up for that one. They must have saw on the calendar that it was St. Patrick's weekend as well. Probably took off Friday because they stuck around. I saw them all through the weekend. Bruins jerseys, walking on St. Catherine Street in the pubs. And the greatest thing, though, was everybody got along. It was great. There was I didn't see any fights. I didn't see any Boston sucks chants. It was just good old hockey fun and good old St. Patrick's fun. So, great experience up there. We're looking to go up and do a couple shows at Hurley's again there. And it's going well, man. It's going well.
It's going well. I see the channel for the eye tests above 1,000 subscribers now. You hit the 1,000 mark with the subscriber count. And you've only been on the air for like a couple of months too.
With
the show. So it's off and running.
Yep, it's growing. And, an interview like the one we did with Jeff Gorton, the executive VP of hockey ops for the Canadians, Pierre got him for Tuesday. That was huge. Obviously that hockey market will eat up anything like that. So that was great. And today it's just going to be me. Pierre is busy. He's working for ESPN Plus, actually doing the color commentating for the ECAC Men's Championship. So their semifinals, I believe, actually, if I'm not mistaken, they might even be going on right now, guys. A lot of college hockey today and tonight. They start 4 p.m. So you got St. Lawrence and Quinnipiac at 4, and then Dartmouth and Cornell are at 7:30. But my eyes, and it's going to be tough because I'm on the air at 4, but I'll be solo. But I'm going to have to stay focused because my alma mater, UMass Amherst, is playing the number 1 team in the country, Boston College, in the hockey semis at 4 p.m. And then Maine and BU will play the other semifinal game at 7:30. Those are both at TD Garden. So if not for my podcast, I'd probably be damaging my liver more now and be inside a pub outside TD Garden. But anyhow, go UMass. We'll see how they do.
You got an uphill battle with that BC team, but you're plus 220 underdogs, by the way.
You can see I got them at plus 200, so it's even going up. I'm going to have to hit that again. Hey, you never know, man. They actually have played.
Look at the Bean Pot. Didn't Northeastern surprise somebody in the Bean Pot?
Yeah, Northeastern beat BC and BU.
Yeah.
So like they've done their job there. Like Northeastern's actually a school that has BU's number. The problem is they're already knocked out of the tournament. So BU's in good shape there. But no, it's a great atmosphere. A couple of my buddies just texted me like, "You coming down?" I said, "I can't. I got the podcast." They said already that the bars are just mobbed with people that came in from Western Mass. Because I don't know if you guys know, UMass Amherst is about an hour and 45 west of Boston. Little ride. So they're going to take that over, though. He said 70-30, one of my favorite pubs, Quarters Pub in Boston. So if you're watching this and you're a UMass fan, go there now. I heard it's about 70-30 UMass to BC fans. So they're taking over.
Wow. They are indeed. Yeah, Brett, great point. Women's Frozen 4 tonight as well. Yep.
No that's around here too. That's in Durham, New Hampshire. We're on the campus of UNH. So pretty cool. I kind of like that, guys. I don't know if you ever noticed that the men's is at these neutral arenas, whether it's an AHL arena or it's a NHL arena for the Frozen Four. I would love to see up until the Frozen Four that they pick a designated school campus. And you actually give a team a home advantage. I think it would be really cool. If you get the top 4 seeds, then you should play out of your barn to begin the tournament. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. And you could even say that about the basketball, but they always put it in the standard. They put it in these standard, hockey-sized arenas, the regular basketball.
Right.
Arenas. Yeah, but make it a neutral court, a neutral ice, if you will.
Yeah,
but yeah, no doubt. I mean, it would be awesome to see a tournament type of game like that on someone's true home ice or true.
I'd rather a tournament game in Storrs, Connecticut than Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
I think they have a little more atmosphere.
Yeah, that's true. But they love their neutral settings. They like to keep everything neutral with these. Yeah, and the dollar bill.
Love.
Yeah, the bigger venues. Yeah,
that's all that has to do with.
They're going to sell more tickets. 100%.
Well, the thing is, half of those places are empty.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's the middle of the day. You're going to get a better chance packing a smaller joint with college kids, right, who don't have to pay to travel to Omaha or, San Antonio. Those big arenas are half empty. So I think they should look into it going forward.
Yeah, no question. You know what I'm going to do here in the meantime, just before we get into NHL discussion here, because I think I'll be able to find it here. I've got this great website, Sports Media Watch, and you can find schedules on everything. I'm just giving you, if you want to watch the ECAC tournament in St. Lawrence, ESPN Plus has those games, 4 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. ESPN Plus, and according to Jimmy, Pierre is going to be on the coverage of that.
Oh yeah, he's there. That's why he can't
those 2 games. And then the Hockey East tournament. Yeah, the Hockey. Yeah, there you go. That's why he's not on the eye test today. He's doing television again. It's been a while. He's got to shake off the rust here. It's been a while since he's been on a television broadcast. But then there's the Hockey East tournament, which is of course locally on Nesson in Boston and Massachusetts. But if you don't have Nesson, or you don't have a network, or you don't have anybody picking up Nesson in your area, you can watch on ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus does have both of the Hockey East tournament games as well, with UMass Boston College and Maine and Boston University. Those are 2 really good games. I mean, my goodness, the Hockey East, my goodness, that'll be a lot of fun. And even the ECAC, Dartmouth, Cornell, St. Lawrence, and Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac, of course, won the Frozen Four just recently. So, good stuff. Lots of great college hockey today.
And lots of good prospects.
And Frozen Four, men's Frozen Four right around the corner.
Yep. So, and you get to see a lot of good prospects, Ian, too. I mean, or future draft picks. I mean, hey, you watched that UMaine BU game tonight. You're watching the #1 pick for the 2024 draft in Macklin Celebrini. And if you haven't seen him play yet, I highly suggest you watch that game tonight. He is a gem. He's got, I'm going to say it and people are going to call me nuts, but his hockey sense is there with the elite NHLers. And he's only 17 years old, guys. The way he sees the game, the acceleration he has in his skating, this kid's going to be a stud. And you were talking about San Jose there. They better hope they get him because he could help accelerate that rebuild there for sure.
Yeah, they desperately need some kind of big time prospect because they
imagine if Chicago gets him.
And if Chicago gets him, oh my gosh!
Don't even get me started. I'm not even gonna start. I'm not even gonna comment on that.
Yeah.
Anyone but Chicago, please. That's all.
I know. Can you
imagine? That would make one man happy. Our guy Alex. That's about it.
Him and Bedard up the middle.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. That would be sick though. That would be just absolutely incredible if Chicago lands him. And what horseshoe do they have up their keister if they land Macklin Celebrini?
Never know.
As well,
Never
but you
know.
never know. It's true. You never know. All right, let's talk a little NHL, then we'll get your thoughts on the Friday games here.
Cool.
Bruins, first of all, obviously the week that's been for them, it's been all over the map. They had a nice win against Ottawa, but last night against the New York Rangers, give the Rangers credit. Nice 5-2 victory there. I don't know. To me, Swayman's not been nearly as sharp the last few games. Nothing to panic about, but just not been nearly as sharp, although nothing he can do when one of the pucks goes in off Jake DeBrusk trying to sprawl to block the pass across, and it ends up going in off him. Tough break there. But, yeah, Rangers with a nice win last night over those Bruins.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Swayman has not been himself lately, but I don't pin that one on him last night. Out of what was there, 3 goals that they scored on him, and then there was 2 empty netters. Out of the 3, I thought only the third one was his fault. I mean, if you look at I think I might have them all mixed up, but I know there was one where he was completely screened, and Patrick Waugh wasn't stopping it. I mean, it was the one that went kind of right between his elbow and his body on his blocker side. He just didn't see it. I mean, it was clear, he didn't see it at all. So you can't knock him on that one. And then the one you just talked about, I know that was the second one. That was just disgusting. I mean, DeBrusk bobbles it, Lindholm bobbles it, Grizzly coughs it up, right? And then it's in front, and Grizzly bounces it right to them. I mean, it was just a cluster bleep, So what are you going to do? I mean, you can't blame him for that. But he has been a little off lately. I wonder, guys. He's a restricted free agent again. He went to arbitration with them. Was not happy about that. I've heard the talks have completely stalled in terms of a contract extension. I think both sides want to get it done. There was talk they were close maybe, and then that got shot down right before the deadline. I wonder if, it's getting in his head right now. Why isn't this done yet?
Yeah.
But
a little mental worry causing this.
Yeah. Or I look at it though too, guys. It's just, it's the ebb and flow of a season.
That's right.
It's a long season, and
I think he's going to set his season high in starts, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
But maybe he's tired. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of factors that could be playing a role in that. I'm not the least bit worried about him, but I'll tell you what, right now, they must be pretty damn happy they didn't find a trade for Linus Ullmark. I mean, since that trade, he has been lights out. I mean, he has been unreal.
Ullmark again. Yep.
Yeah, he was great in that game. I was up in Montreal that I saw him there, and in the 2-1 overtime win. And then in that Ottawa game, guys, that might have been a 6-2 win for the Bruins over the Senators Tuesday, but I don't know how closely you watched the game. That was not a 6-2 game. In fact, the Bruins probably lose that game because they probably get just demolished in the second period, if not for Ullmark. He had something like 17 saves, I believe, or 18 actually in the second period. So good for him that he's sort of rebounded from the whole stress of the trade deadline, and he's bounced back. And I love what's going on right now. I don't mind them losing. The Bruins are getting much more battle tested now heading down the stretch than they were last year, because these games actually mean something and they're playing for something. And to have that mentality start to, get in your head, you're training yourself for the playoffs. So I really do like this a lot better than where we were last year for the Boston Bruins.
Yes, exactly. And of course, that's a division title in the Atlantic Division that they have to play for down the stretch. And thanks to finally a little cooling off for the Florida Panthers, the Boston Bruins now a 3-point lead on the Panthers for first in the division, although the Panthers do have 2 games in hand, but you got to win them. It's good to have games in hand, but you got to do something with them. So Boston very much has a chance to once again be Atlantic Division champions. Speaking of Florida, and you can throw, we should make this a segment when Jimmy's on, because we don't have him for long, and he's got his show at the top of the hour. The NHL, according to Jimmy Murphy, it's basically we're going to open it up. Jimmy can talk about whatever he wants in the NHL that he wants to on this show. So there we go. The NHL, according to Jimmy Murphy. What's on your mind?
Well, I mean, you want me to keep it on ice? Because that's probably a lot more positive. There's a lot of off ice crap that I'd like to vent on, but let's stay in a good mood. There's too much hockey on right now. So let's keep it on ice. I'll just say right now, guys, I don't know about you. You mentioned Florida kind of slipping a bit there. I'm loving the up and down races going on, and especially the wild card races in each conference. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's almost like the NHL's own version of March Madness right now. And I think it's great. It's playoff hockey a little early. We're getting an extra gift here. And I look at one team, and I think it's well documented here that I grew up, the second favorite team growing up was the Detroit Red Wings because I love Steve Yzerman. I think they need to make the playoffs for the NHL. I think it would be great. They're an original six franchise. They were, a dynasty for so long. It's been a while. I mean, correct me if I'm mistaken, they have not played a playoff game in Little Caesars, right?
That is correct.
I think it would be huge. Look, I heard Ken Daniels on with my good friend Jeff Marek yesterday. We had both of those guys on our show, on our podcast. They were great. And Ken said heading into that game last night, man, did they play like it? He said this tonight is the biggest game in Little Caesars Arena history. And, people may say you're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets in March. How can this be? Because, I mean, the season was on the line. It really was there. And you have Dylan Larkin come back. And, man, I mean, people were knocking the Red Wings for that slide. I think it was pretty clear what was wrong. It was him missing. I mean,
he's that important, both ends of the ice. Leadership,
how that team goes.
That's
how important he is.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say he's top 3 or even top 5 Hart Trophy, but he's got to be in the top 10 voting at the end of the year for the Hart Trophy because he means that much to the Red Wings. So, yeah, I'm keeping an eye on them. And I love these wild card races. And I think the other thing, too, guys, that I like about this time of year is when you start to see a lot of prospects come up and get a taste, or you get the college free agency kicking in, and you have some of those players that will join an NHL roster here. Sometimes it's on a playoff team. I remember, I've seen it twice with Torrey Krug back in 2012 with the Boston Bruins and Charlie McAvoy with the Boston Bruins in 2017, who jumped right into a really exciting series.
Cal McCarr.
Yeah, Cal McCarr, I think maybe 2 years later, right, for Colorado. So I love watching that, having those guys introduced to the NHL world. So it's just a great time of year. I love it.
It is. It's a great time of year. There's no question about that. Oh, I do want to get your thoughts just quickly before we ask you about Friday's games on Nashville. What is going? This team has just been unbelievable. 16-game point streak now, 14-0-2, franchise record, consecutive game, single season point streak, 3-0 blanking of the Florida Panthers last night, which might have been one of their most impressive wins of the entire run during this 16-game point streak. Lankinen with a shutout. Forsberg can't be stopped right now. That whole line can't be stopped. Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist. Man, they've been absolutely on fire. Nashville, what a job. And it all started with the U2 concert getting X'd out by Trotz and Brunette. And all of a sudden, ever since that moment, and they got destroyed by Dallas at home, and we all counted them out. And since that point, 14-0-2. Unreal.
Yeah, look, and I'll give my buddy Marek credit again, too. He was saying yesterday, I thought it was great. He said, if they win the cup, okay, if they go on some magical run in the playoffs and win the cup, apparently there's a site out there where you can actually rent big-time rock and roll bands, legendary bands like U2. And he said if they win the cup, then their owner has to have a private concert with U2. Yeah. Rent out Tootsie's or something in Nashville and have a celebration there with U2 to say, all right, you guys earned it. You definitely earned this. So, but look, they could be, ironically, they beat the Panthers last night, guys. Maybe they're this year's addition to the Panthers. I mean, they're playing like it. It reminds me a lot of that run at the end of the season last year that the Panthers went on, and we've seen so many teams in the past sort of carry that momentum that gets them into the playoffs, then all the way through. So you never know. They could be that Cinderella team, but even if they're not, they deserve a ton of credit for what they've done there. And there's another team, guys, think about it, that was rumored to be having their number one goalie was on the trade block, and there was talk that it was really close with the Devils and that the Devils will try and get him again in UC Saros over the summer. Again, maybe a blessing in disguise that didn't happen. Look at what's happened since then. So, I can't ring it off the top of my head, but there's teams out there that ironically are benefiting off moves they didn't make at the deadline rather than moves they did make. And it's really helping them right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I know what, Ice X, I got to admit, and Predators have been good to me lately with sides and team totals. I'm telling you what, that's a tricky spot for them.
Go Wings.
Know the difference Dylan Larkin makes for the Detroit Red Wings. He's back now. I'm telling you what, that could be a live dog there tomorrow, quite honestly, with the Detroit Red. I'm happy to take Nashville plus 150, but now we're putting them out there now, minus 165, tomorrow night at home against Detroit, who need the points. So we'll talk about more about that Saturday on the show. But that's an interesting game all of a sudden tomorrow. Red Wings and Predators. All right, Jimmy, rapid fire through Friday's 4 games. Hurricanes, Capitals. What do you think here?
Hurricanes. I think that loss the other day. Now I keep saying this, and they keep coming back from the dead, but I really think that was a crushing loss there for the Washington Capitals at home against Toronto. I know travel played a huge role, and but you can lose. I'll give you a loss off the road there, first game back. I'm totally a believer in that, but I want to see more effort. I don't want to see just them accepting that they're supposed to lose or something. So I didn't like that. I like the Canes are just rolling right now. I wouldn't do it on the money line. I would take the puck line, maybe even do a -3 just to get some more juice on the line there and some more money. So there you go, Carolina.
And we all mentioned the Evgeny earlier on the show. We
what a story!
Evgeny Kuznetsov against his old team. You think he's going to want to play well tonight?
Yeah, you know what? Go with a goal prop for him too.
Yeah,
give me a goal prop for him.
No doubt. All right, Pittsburgh, Dallas. I'm on over by Fecta here. First period, full game over, because I think Pittsburgh can score a bit, but they can't defend.
I'm right with you. The only thing I'd caution is that what I've been reading lately, Dallas really wants to buckle down, and we know that they've been struggling, ironically, over the last few weeks. They haven't been their usual defensive self. So I'm with you, though. I like the over there. And I just stay the hell away from the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know what you get. Every time I touch a game with them in it, I lose because I think they're either going to win, they lose. I think they're going to lose, they win. So keep me away from the Penguins.
What a season this has fucking been for the Pittsburgh Penguins, for a guy like your friend there, Dan Kingerski, to chronicle for this team.
It's great.
My goodness. Yeah, it's great for him.
Yeah, guys, a lot of people out there think it's great. Like when last year they said, oh, you're so lucky you're covering the Bruins. They're breaking all these records and all these wins. And I said, screw that. I want a team in turmoil. That's where I get clicks. That's where I make my money. That's where I get a lot to write about.
Right.
When you're covering a team that always wins,
drama sells. Yep.
You run out of shit to write about. So Dan's having a field day with that. And I mean, they've been the gift that keeps on giving. He was telling me, oh, hey guys, 1 second. I've got something cooking in the oven and it's starting to smell a little. So I want to.
All right. Yeah. We don't want your house to burn down. Don't tend to it. Yeah. All right. Chef Jimmy Murphy here on the Ice Guys show. Just making sure he doesn't burn his damn house down, but that's another story. As far as Dan Kingerski's had a field day of to covering this Penguins team with the shit show season they've had and everything that's going on and all the the falling apart of the franchise, and no doubt it's been a disappointing year for the Penguins. Columbus, Colorado, Jimmy. What do you think?
Just back to that though, I want to tell you a funny story. So Dan was here, if you recall. The Penguins played here the day after the trade deadline. They were here on March 9th for that second ESPN matinee, 3:30 game. And so Dan's here Friday, and he took in practice, and I sat with him as the deadline was going on. And he showed me it at 8 a.m. on deadline day. He already had 350,000 clicks at 8 a.m.
Holy shit.
That just gives you an idea of the amount of money that the horrible season for the Penguins has helped Pittsburgh hockey out with. It's insane.
It is. Because people want to read. Unfortunately, that's society. They want to read about negativity, not positivity. Yeah.
It is. It's a bad reflection of society for sure, but it is what it is.
There's no doubt about that. Columbus, Colorado. What do you think here? It's a weird spot because I don't trust Columbus. They've been bad on the road. Merzlikins has been bad, but Colorado's off a 4-game roadie, and sometimes you're dopey first game home. What do you think here?
I'm going to go with the under in the first period here for the reasons you just said. I think Colorado winds up winning. They pull away, but I think it's a little slow. They're a little lackluster coming out of the gate there. They're still adjusting back to their home and the time zone there. So give me the under in the first period.
All right, under in the first period. And then when Jimmy joined us, we were about to talk about this game, the final game of this Friday card, Seattle, Arizona, even money both sides, 5.5 being the total here in this game, shaded to the over. Seattle's a fade city team for me, Jimmy. We've talked about this. They have just fallen off. They're not making the playoffs. It's all over but the crying there. A 6th straight loss last night for Seattle at Vegas, 3-1 in that game. For Arizona, they are coming back home after the road loss to Dallas, 5-2. But it is worth noting, this Coyotes team has won 2 straight home games coming into tonight. They've shut out Detroit 4-0 back on March 8th, 2 weeks ago, and they beat New Jersey 4-1 earlier this week at home. So they're back home. This looks like a dead-to-right Seattle Kraken team to me. I'm on Arizona here, -110. Just keeping it simple. Arizona for me. What do you think here, Terry? We'll start with you on this one, Seattle, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game when it comes to a side perspective. Now, Vejmelka's confirmed, but he's done pretty well recently, coming off a 4-1 win against the Devils, stopping 37 of 38. So when you see Vejmelka in net, I know that might scare some people, but he's been pretty good recently for the Yotes. I'm going with props here. I've got 3 of them. Clayton Keller, anytime goal, +170. He has a goal in 4 of his last 5 games on the top line, on the top power play. I like him to score. Nick Schmaltz to get an assist, +110. If Keller is scoring, then Schmaltz is likely getting an assist. He's done that in 6 of his last 7 games. So I'll take him at +110. And then Dylan Guenther to get a point. He's got 1 in 4 of his last 5 games. So I'll go with Guenther. And for Seattle, the only player consistent right now is Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Yeah.
And when the only player consistent for you is Oliver Bjorkstrand, that's telling you you're in some trouble because he's a third line player. So if he's the only guy consistent, I would lean with Arizona for sure. But I like those 3 props for the Yotes.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I don't mind someone in the chat, Kylie, their team total over 2.5 Arizona. I like it, but the only problem is it's -152. You know, it's a little bit pricey on that, but I certainly think they could get to 3 goals. Yeah, I'm on Arizona money line. That's the primary bet for me in this game. Jimmy, what do you think? Seattle, Arizona.
Well, I haven't been on for a while, so I'll give you a Jimmy puck line. Give me the Arizona Coyotes -1.5. I think they smoke them, actually. I'm with you. Seattle's just a fade team right now. I think Arizona, actually, guys, could be a solid team to bet on down the stretch here. A lot of guys are competing for jobs there for next year. They're filtering in. We were talking about the young talent coming in across the NHL at this time of year. You're going to see that with them. You already are. Young, hungry players getting a chance to make a name for themselves. So even when they're playing against a team that they should completely lose to, maybe at least look at the +1.5, because I think they're going to be a pesky team down the stretch here. I wouldn't bet, just completely say it's a lock that they lose when they're playing, say, the likes of Colorado or whoever. I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch. And also Friday night, guys, they tend to really get up for the Friday night games in that arena. So give me the Coyotes -1.
College kids looking to have a fun time on a Friday night. That's probably what it is. There you go. It's a little more.
And I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, let's check it out. I don't think
they smoked Detroit 4-0 2 Friday nights ago. I remember.
Yeah, and Arizona State's not playing anymore. So
that's right. Yeah.
They need something to cheer for. There you go.
There you go. Yep. Coyotes there. Oh. There we go. We'll do our little coyote sound there with the Arizona Coyotes.
Did they stay the Coyotes when they moved to Salt Lake?
That's the question. And now it's starting to look again like, hey, the wheels are in motion, maybe.
Oh, they're in motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been in motion for a long time.
Yeah.
I would, if there was wagers you could bet, I'd be betting a house that Arizona is in Salt Lake City next year.
There you go. Logan Cooley, by the way. John Leonard, too. You're right. John Leonard scored the other night for Arizona. That's a nice little shot there for a guy that was down the lineup, but I thought he had a pretty good game. And Logan Cooley, I'm going back to the well with Logan Cooley. He's been very good lately for the Coyotes. All right, Jimmy, get a bargain bin special pick ready because that's coming up along with best bets to wrap up the show. Again, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 a month. Patreon exclusive live betcasts, more of them coming in April and beyond. Our daily sides totals and player props posted there every day. Goalie charts, totals charts, and more bonus video content. Sign up, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Our next betcast Tuesday night. It is a great Tuesday night slate, too. Boston, Florida, Edmonton, Winnipeg. I mean, I could go on and on about all the great games coming up Tuesday night, March 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Flyers and Rangers. I mean, it is a really, really good Tuesday night slate. Our next live betcast, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we'll send you a link for it before it begins. And check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up to wrap up the show right after we hear from our great sponsors of Beantown Friday and every day on the Ice Guys show, Boston Hemp Inc. All right, Boston Hemp Inc. Make sure you check them out. 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. We hit one last night. Connor Garland, Vancouver, plus 300 with the bargain bin special. We'll see if we can keep it rolling. Terry, we'll start with you. What do you like for your bargain bin tonight?
I'm going to switch things up today. I'm going with the team total parlay. Carolina, Dallas, and Colorado, all team total over 3.5. Bet365 for plus 398. I like all three of those teams to hit 4 goals tonight.
That's a first. I like it. A first ever team total parlay bargain bin special of the night on the show. So that's the Avs, that's the Hurricanes, and who's the third team? Stars?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
There you go. So Stars, Hurricanes, Avs, all over 3.5 plus 398 for Terry Edelman, his bargain bin special of the night. Jimmy, what do you got for your bargain bin special?
You know what I'm doing?
There you go, Kuznetsov.
That's right. Plus 320. Plus 320. Are you kidding me? Like you said, this guy's going to be motivated to score against his old team. He's on a roll. He's fitting perfectly in Carolina. I might even try and up that to 2+ goals. I didn't get a chance to look at what the value would be on that, but definitely give me Kuznetsov anytime goal at plus 320.
We'll do better than that for you with the price. How about plus 380 at FanDuel?
Oh, I'll check that out then.
Yeah.
Thanks for the find. Thank you.
Go. Evgeny Kuznetsov plus 380. My bargain bin special for tonight is actually going to be Kuznetsov as well, but I'm not going with the goal prop. And I haven't done this very often. I have not done over 1.5 points very often with my bargain bin special, but I'm going to go that route. And I love the goal prop too. The goal prop's a great pick, I think, for bargain bin special tonight, but I'm going to go with that point prop. Over 1.5 points plus 475 for Evgeny Kuznetsov tonight for the Washington Capitals.
You see what Cuban Gretzky said there? Cuban Wayne Gretzky plus 3,500 for 2 goals for Kuz.
Why not? Yep. And that'll cash the over 1.5 points as well. So yeah, I like it. Wow. Great value. I think tonight, look, he had a bad night last night, but he's been playing pretty well for Carolina. Last night he didn't show up. It was an invisible night for him, but I think he was saving it for tonight, quite honestly, against Washington, where it ended spectacularly bad for him with Washington. So I think he wants to make amends and have a big night. So yeah, Evgeny Kuznetsov for me, over 1.5 points plus 475. For my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Terry, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I'm going with my favorite bet of the day for best bet, and that's Seth Jarvis. Anytime goal, plus 250. goal in 6 of his last 7 games. He's just been consistent on that top line for the Hurricanes. So I'll take him anytime goal plus 250 as my best bet.
All right, Seth Jarvis plus 250,
Oh.
Carolina Hurricanes, and he's been on fire for Terry with his best bet. Jimmy, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, and how about the way, too, he's clicked with Jake Gensel as well. I mean, those guys seem like they're long-lost brothers. But anyhow, my best bet, guys, is going to go right back there to Arizona. Minus 1.5.
There we go. There's Jimmy with the Coyote voice right there. Arizona puck line minus 1.5. And you can get that at a pretty good price there. Plus 240 at some spots for that Arizona puck line. So quite the price there for Jimmy Murphy with the Coyotes. My best bet, it's also the Arizona Coyotes. But, yeah, I'm chickening out compared to Jimmy. I'm going with the safer play, the money line with Arizona. Let's go Arizona minus 104 at Pinnacle. Again, this Seattle team to me is just they're flailing. They're falling apart. The playoffs are not going to happen. They're 1-6 now. Not only are they on a 6-game losing streak, they're 1-6 now without Vince Dunn. Like, his injury has been huge for the Kraken because he gets the offense going from the blue line. They miss that puck movement to get the rush started, and they have not played well, and they've really struggled to score without him as well. Arizona minus 110. And by the way, Vemelka's given up 3 goals or less in 5 straight starts, 3-2 in his last 5 starts. So we crapped on him earlier, but he's playing a little bit better lately for Arizona. Seattle minus 104 for my best bet for this Friday card. That's a wrap for this show. Jimmy, before we say goodbye and end the show, just final words from you. Great to see you again. We've missed you.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys too. And happy belated St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. And yeah, just enjoy the hockey. There's so much on right now. Highly suggest, if you're able to and you haven't already, to subscribe to ESPN Plus. I don't work for them or anything. I don't get any money out of saying this, but you can basically get every single college hockey game going on this weekend, and there's a ton. And I would tune in to those 2 Hockey East games, UMass and BC starting up in the half hour, and then BU and UMaine later on tonight. So check that out. And yeah, great to see you guys. And I hopefully can start to be on here a little more often. Just been a crazy month so far.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And it's going to happen, especially around the trade deadline. But yeah, usually Fridays, and Jimmy always welcome to join us on a Beantown Friday edition of the Ice Guys Show. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. And Terry Edelman, special thanks to him. Great week filling in for Alex B. Smith, who's going to be back on the show tomorrow, returning home from Chicago, where he's been tending to his mom. So definitely good to see with that. Terry, great job this week.
Thanks. It's been awesome to be on. Ian, I've been watching the Ice Guys since basically you guys first started. So it's been awesome to be on the last week, and we've cashed some nice bets. So I hope for another good day today.
Terry, too, another thing we should send out, and it's in your neck of the woods, I think. Are you based in Minnesota?
No, I'm in Hamilton near Ian.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Right, my neck of the woods.
Wild fan. I thought you were from there. Well, anyhow, it made me think of it when I saw the jerseys behind you. Big shout out to the great, legendary Lou Nanny in Minnesota, calling his final high school championship game. 82 years old, over 60 years of broadcasting. Also was instrumental in USA Hockey in the state of Minnesota with the old Minnesota North Stars as well. Just a legend in the state of hockey there. So big props to Lou Nanny. You're one of the best guys you guys will meet in the hockey world. So congratulations to him.
Well said. I agree. Great man. I've never met him, but I've heard great things. I know about him and what he's done in the hockey. So great stuff. Well said by Jimmy. Thanks for everyone joining in. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Terry Edelman and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. NHL and college hockey. Oh, and March Madness, too. I guess we can't forget that. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Saturday for another edition of the Ice Guys.